You know, we are always looking for a fantastic bang for buck speaker or component for our stereo systems. We have been through a lot of stuff over the last couple years. And if you're new to this channel, we are kind of about 50-50 DIY and retail space, meaning that a lot of times we like to build speakers and things on our own or as a community. If you've watched for long enough, you will know that the La Dolce Audio open baffles that we collaborated with La Dolce Audio, and we built these awesome open baffle speakers that really kind of launched our channel and really kind of made some waves in the industry of the open baffle space. And then we met Neil Blanchard over at Neil Blanchard Designs, who does some flat pack speaker stuff. Really good experience building those speakers. We did some DIY subwoofer stuff. You know, we do have a pretty good ingrained DIY portion of our community. And if that kind of interests you, I really wanted to highlight a really cool manufacturer company today. You can see them behind me here. We're talking about the Creative Sound Solutions TDX series of speakers. Now, the great thing about Creative Sound Solutions, otherwise known as CSS, they not only offer flat pack speaker designs that you can order, but they have a whole series of crossover upgrades that you can kind of work with depending on where you want your price point to be. You can jump in at the 1TDX, which is the one behind me. You can see single driver, single tweeter. Again, they have a wide array of crossover upgrades that you can do, from just basic Dayton audio all the way up to some really high-end stuff. And then that series runs all the way up to 3TDX. So we will show you all of those. Today we're going to be talking about the Creative Sound Solutions TDX series of DIY speaker. But don't freak out. For those of you who really like the retail space and you're not afraid to spend the money, you can buy all of their speakers in a finished configuration, which is what we actually got in for review. So let's take a look at the 1TDX, the 3TDXs. We'll talk about some of the differences and kind of what we thought about them. But first, let's just take a look at these awesome looking speakers to just show you the potential of how you could potentially finish your speakers, but it's kind of an endless space. So I'm excited about this one. Let's go that way. Let's everybody turn over there and we'll go take a look at these things. All right, let's go. All right, so that was kind of a visual rundown of the 1TDX, the 3TDXs. You know, we're just going to talk about these things as a series. I think that's going to be kind of a cool thing to do rather than doing two separate reviews for each speaker. That way, if you're looking at these, you know, kind of figuring out kind of where you want to fit into this space, you know, maybe we've covered some of that for you, or you can hit me up in the comments and I can walk you guys through some of this stuff. If you're kind of on the fence about whether I should go with the 1TDX, 2TDX, 3TDXs, should I buy them all the way finished? Should I buy the kit? You know, crossover upgrades, stuff like that. So a couple things to remember. Like I said, these are a DIY flat pack kit. So you can buy them just the parts, not even the flat packs. You can build your own cabinet if you'd like. You can get an MDF cabinet, or you can get a birch cabinet with the 1TDXs. And then as you push up through the line with the 3TDXs all the way at their flagship, again, you can buy them just as the components if you want to build your own cabinet, or you can get the flat pack with them. And then you can do basically an upgrade in capacitor parts, crossover parts, including the capacitors and stuff. And basically that takes you from like Dayton Audio, kind of entry-level space, up to like the Jensen Z, like the really nice kind of high-end stuff. I highly, highly recommend that you guys save the money and get the upgraded crossover. Kelly and I have messed around enough over the last couple years with crossover components and upgrading. All capacitors and resistors and stuff like that and coils are not equal. Same exact values will make drastic sound differences when you jump from one tier to the next. A 3.3 microfarad capacitor at 500 volts in Dayton Audio is not going to sound anywhere near the same as a Jensen or some, higher end clarity capacitors or something like that. Anybody that tells you that they all sound the same, never listen to that individual again. The upgraded crossovers and upgrading your crossover parts and ensuring that you're buying a quality part rather than just the value is absolutely paramount. It is almost as important as the speaker driver itself or your amplifier or your DAC or whatever. With the 1TDX, you can buy the flat pack kit for about $774, I believe. That is with the, just the stock entry level capacitor bank. I think it puts you just a little over $1,300 or something like that, or $1,200. It's like a few extra $100 to jump up to that next tier. So it's going to push you over $1,000 to get that upgraded capacitor or upgraded crossover network. But I really think it's worth it. In the 3TDX, that thing is, what was it again? Oh, it's $2,000 for the base model, $2,000 for the base model. And if you buy the completely kitted out one, like the one that I got in for review, you're looking at $6,000, $6,500 or something like that, for the completely upgraded crossover, and in its finished condition with its nice finish and everything. So basically, like buying a retail speaker. So a lot of wiggle room and variance for you guys, depending on what you want to do and what your budget is. I will tell you this right now. I have had a lot of speakers in over the last couple years. We've had the entire Dynaudio lineup, from the Emit 50s to the Evoke 50s to the Focus 50s. We've had the Borisons, we've had the Bach Audios. We've had a ton of speakers in the, $4,000 to $9,000 range. The 3TDX towers at $6,000-ish, depending on where you jump in this thing, as buying it as a retail speaker, 100% worth the money. 100% worth the money. That speaker held up with our 5500 Dynaudio Evoke 50s, held up with the Borison X2s, in some cases doing things better than the others. So even at the retail space, I think what I'm trying to get across to you guys is how much bang for buck and value you get if you can buy the DIY flat pack and do a little gluing and soldering, and finishing these things out if you want. It is going to be so much bang for buck. I'm telling you, you're going to have to get for the 3TDXs alone. You're going to have to get into the, at least $7,000 to $10,000 space for a tower speaker to, kind of really start pushing past a little bit. Even then, maybe just meeting or exceeding a little bit. So at the end of the day, my opinion is that at the fully finished price, they are worth it and a value, and they punch into the same space as you would if you were to go out and buy retail speakers. And if you're going to build them DIY flat pack, dude, man, that is a wrecking effect bang for buck right there. So how do these things sound, really, at the end of the day? When we get into these 1TDX, 2TDX, 3TDXs, I will tell you that in the auditioning that Kelly and I did with the 1TDXs and the 3TDXs, we had them both in our room. There is kind of a house sound that is there. They both have kind of similar tonalities, and performance. They image and soundstage, pretty similarly. I will tell you that with the 3TDX, it allows you to jump one level. You get a little bit better quality of the crossover parts than you can. You kind of get maxed out with the 1TDX, and the 3TDX gives you just a little bit better boost in that crossover upgrade. So I think when it comes to the 3TDXs, I think their imaging, their layering, their separation, kind of their focus detail, just how tight and focused and clean everything is in the soundstage, is slightly better in the 3TDX's mid-range and treble space over the 1TDX if you were to kind of cut that 3TDX and just make it in the same box. And you can really hear that those crossover parts doing their job there. And obviously you get many more drivers. You get a much more full range speaker as far as that goes. So performance, these things are going to have a really wide dispersion. They have a really nice wide sound stage. They have really good in-room projection. If you look over at Aaron's audio, I think he did some measurements on them, and the dispersion was pretty wide. I think that's why they have such a nice sound stage. But I was able to get sound stage easily 4 or 5 feet off each side of the speaker. They disappeared really well. The upper end is really nicely detailed. It has a good sound to it. It's not going to get fatiguing. This is not going to be a fatiguing speaker, but it's also not going to be kind of a rolled off or warm speaker. I wouldn't really classify this as a warm speaker. Yeah, definitely not a warm speaker. I mean, it is, I would put it a little bit closer to neutral. Definitely not forward, though, so you're not going to get into that fatigue and sibilance and stuff like that. It does a really good job at controlling that. The depth of soundstage is absolutely fantastic. I don't get a lot of depth in my room. I think these speakers just soundstage, probably some of the best soundstage I've heard in a speaker. They do a really good job on the soundstage front. The bass is super tight, super clean. The frequency range on some of these, I think the one TDX said they get down to like 30 hertz or something like that. When we go over the website, I'll get into that stuff. But probably not... having the Dyne Audios, I'll tell you one of the things that the Dyne Audio, like the Evoke 50s compared to the 3 TDXs, they dig a little bit deeper. They do their bass a little bit differently. They're kind of emphasized on bass in the Dyne Audio space, and they do it really well. The 1 TDXs aren't going to dig quite as deep as the Evoke 50s did. Probably due to a little bit smaller driver, but I would say that the bass in the 3 TDX is a little bit more accurate, and the 1 TDX as well. The bass is really accurate. They did a really good job on this speaker. Now, if you're not going to go with the fully upgraded crossover, don't take everything I say to heart, because it's going to be a completely different speaker. If you are critically listening to this speaker, I can guarantee you that if you go with those Dayton Audio crossovers, that it's going to be a different speaker. Not that it's bad. It's just you're not gonna get the last little bit of performance, and you may not get some of those micro details, and it may not just image as well. It may not have as good of layering, or I don't know what it's gonna do. I haven't had the stock, but I can tell you from experience it will be different. Mid-ranges on both speakers are really nice. I didn't get anything that was like shouty or overemphasized or like drew my attention. It felt like a really well-balanced speaker. I was amazed at how deep the 1 TDXs dug. I had them in my big room downstairs, which is like 18 foot by 17 foot, and it's open all around. I'm telling you guys, I probably didn't even need a sub, and I think Kelly was kind of thinking the same thing. In this room, especially, them being rear ported, I do not need a sub here in this studio. It's about a 13 by 12 room, and no sub needed. It's almost too much bass for that space, but just depending on your flavor. I don't like bass that much. I'm not a big bass head. I usually don't run subs in my system, so I'm a little sensitive to that. So when I say something like, "Oh, that was probably almost too much bass," it probably isn't for most people. I'm a little bit weird that way. But as far as the performance aspect of things, the separation, the layering, the detail, the timbre, the tonality, everything felt really good. They're a real natural speaker. They felt pretty true to life. The treble wasn't aggressive. The mid-ranges were well composed. The bass was really great. Some of the nicest bass I've kind of heard in a tower. I really liked it. I like it better than the Evoke 50 bass. I just think the Evoke 50 dig a little bit deeper, and it's going to be a little bit better that way. But for me, it was absolutely perfect. So that's kind of the sound and the performance of the 1 TDX and the 3 TDX. I didn't have the 2 TDX, so I couldn't really compare, but I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere in the middle. But yeah, that's really nice speaker. As far as gear that we paired with these things, I think they're a pretty neutral speaker, so they're going to kind of let your front end shine through. I don't think this is a speaker that's going to hide what you're sending it, from your streamer and your DAC, your preamplifier and your amp. I think they're going to play nice with pretty much most of the gear that you guys have. If you look at your website, we'll run it through, but 87 dB sensitive, so they're not super efficient, but they're also, not super inefficient. 87.4, 87.8 dB, and that's both for the 1 TDX and the 3 TDX. So they will play pretty low with low wattage amplifiers. I think they're calling out like 30 to 50 watts or something minimal. Yeah, suggested amplifier, 30 watts or more. Most of the time we paired it with 150 watt Class A B amps. We did pair both sets of speakers with some really cool like 25 watt Class A amplifiers. We had the CCY, the 300B, 25 watt Class A. We had the Galleon TSA 75, which is a 75 watt Class A B amplifier. We had the Galleon A20, which is a 20 watt Class A. And then we ran them all the way up on like the freaking $12,000 Class A Delta amplifier that's just insane, like 850 damping factor. That was absolutely nuts. I mean, you're never going to pair that set of speakers with an amplifier like that, but you know, maybe you will. You should. It's badass, but but as far as you know, front end components go, I think you're going to be pretty versatile here. You're not going to have to worry about you know, putting a warm tube amplifier or a Class A amplifier that's a little bit more musical on these and having them be too laid back or too muffled or too soft or too rolled off. You can get up into some of the Class D GaNFET application, like the stuff from Orchard Audio that's just a really good performance, clean pass-through. If you had something like the Cyan 2 DAC that was really kind of neutral and you know, kind of clarity and focus and detail oriented, I don't think that you're going to bring these to a space where they're too bright and fatiguing. Although just that's all going to depend on your flavor and stuff like that. But man, we ran this through a bunch of gear, and you know, my reference and probably my preference was the PS Audio AirLens streamer, the DirectStream Mark II, through the Class A Delta stereo amplifier, and those are some pretty high-end you know, components. And I think that really showed me the potential of these speakers. That was one of the greatest things about these, is how well they scaled. Like when I put them with, you know, $1,000 amplifiers, $500 DACs, you know, $800 preamplifiers, they sounded and performed great. And then you think to yourself, okay, well, am I maxing these things out? Well, then you put a $8,000 DAC in there, $13,000 amplifier, you know, and a $2,000 streamer, you know, on top of them. And whoa, watch out. Them babies woke up, and it was absolutely insane. So I feel like you're going to get a good growth with these. If you're stepping into these speakers, you're going to have to get up into some pretty high tier gear before you kind of outwalk these things. So overall, hey man, my name is James, your ABX audiophile. I hope you appreciated this review. That's kind of my thoughts and my experience with these. If you want to check out more information, or you want to talk to Kelly or I directly on our experience, make sure you go down into the description below, jump in our Discord, and you can talk to all of us in real time. And that's kind of my overall thoughts. I'll walk you guys through the website for those that want to stick it out and you know, get a little more take there and kind of my thoughts on some stuff. But other than that, I appreciate you guys. Thank you to CSS Creative Sound Solutions for sending these out. They will be going on. I think the 3 TDXs are going over to Thomas and Stereo, and I don't know where the 1 TDXs are going. But anyway, fantastic speaker. Build them, bang for buck, off the friggin' charts. You guys have a fantastic day. All right, so if you stuck around here a little bit, what we got here, this is basically their website. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that I was talking about in a little bit more detail. So if you come in here to the website, you go to their custom shop. This is where you can buy everything completely done. Now remember, I was saying the 3 TDX is $5,500 for the pair, but that is only with the Superior Z cap. So the standard entry level to the 3 TDXs is basically the upgrade for the other speakers. Now we can jump this up to the Jansen Amber Z cap, but now we're pushing 600 or 6,300 bucks for this speaker. And like I said, I'm telling you guys, I'm not lying to you. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't me exaggerating. For $6,300, that is a $6,300 speaker on the retail market easily. And I've had $8,800, $9,000 set of speakers that I would consider that this would keep up with. So even at the $6,300 price range, I think you are still bang for buck here. Obviously, all the different options here. But yeah, that's the upgrade right there. If we go back to the custom shop, you can see that they've got the 1 TDXs here, fully finished pair. Again, $2,349. And you can tell you got no options here. You get their speaker, you get the crossover, bada bada bing, bada bang. This is the top shelf deal. I would say that this is a value again at the $2,300 space. No questions. And that's what I'm telling you guys. If you can jump into these kits, well, they got them featured right here. But anyway, if you jump into the kits, here's their kits right here. So for $774, you can jump into this 1 TDX for a pair, guys. Are you freaking serious right here? You can even upgrade to Baltic Birch. I really like the birch cabinets. I think that would be super cool. You wouldn't have to worry about doing any laminate or anything. You could stain them and they would look really nice. Again, get the superior high-end parts. You get all these Jansen upgrades here. It's another $400, but it only puts you at $1,424. That is a banging speaker for $1,400. Are you freaking serious right now? That is super cool. But you can buy the finished ones if you want. Obviously, they got them down here. Oh, and by the way, just as a side note, if you guys haven't watched my review on the Typhons, $2,900, dude. That is insane. That thing was $5,500. They're clearing them out. They got a few pairs left. Pick a set of those up, man, because those will blow your mind for $2,999. That is nuts. Again, those things will hang with the 3 TDXs pretty easily and punch well above that price. And you're getting that for $3,000. That's stupid. Anyway, that's kind of the speaker. If we want to get into some of kind of, you can get the raw drivers and stuff too, and they have clearance here. But if you get into the 3TX, we can run down to the specifications. Again, we talked about this a little bit. There's your specs on these guys right there. 32 hertz to 20 kill. In-room response, 87 dB right there at 4 ohms. Here's where they talk about the 30 watts, etc. 70 pounds weight per speaker. So nice beefy one. And then if you go over to the 1 TDX, again, specifications are kind of the same, right? We got 87 dB, right? Again, there's our sensitivity. 25 pounds each, so it's a much smaller speaker. They're saying 20 watts and up, and I will guarantee you these will run off, they'll run off a 10 watt amplifier. So don't worry about your power here. These are plenty good to be able to handle some pretty decent. Now, like I said, if you do put a high current, high power amplifier on it, you are gonna just get ready to have your socks knocked off, because that is, you talk about dynamic and transient detail, man. What the heck? You're gonna jump up to the next level. So they don't need it, but they like it. They don't need it, but they like it. If you're gonna get into the power space. So anyway. That's a look at those guys, and yeah, thanks for hanging out with me and watching out the rest of the review on the website. Make sure you go check these guys out. Their website's very good. Their ordering's very good. They're very good people. If you have questions, reach out to them. And yeah, we'll check y'all later. Appreciate you.